Most of us in the United States are familiar with Medellín. It's a name we've heard over the years on the news. Once a center for drug trafficking in the cartels.
For many years, drugs and violence was a way of life in Medellín.
The drug culture changed Medellín forever. Easy money became the rule, and it has changed the society in the way that it became the most violent city in the world at one time.
It is out of that framework and that context that our partner seminary in Medellín has for decades ministered and been a part of spreading the gospel.
The church where I was going to told me about a community in Medellín called Sabaneta. It had 40,000 people, but no evangelical church. So I started to go on a prayer walk there every week.
As she came and through her years at the seminary, she prayed that the Lord would lead her to pastor, to plant a church, and yet she didn't know where.
Sabaneta is a strong center of worship of the Virgin Mary. If you walk around the town, you will see statues to her everywhere.
She had, in that time, started doing prayer walks in Sabaneta, asking that the Lord would send someone to bring the gospel there.
On Tuesdays, the church would have Mass all day long. And the people believed that if you came and prayed during those Masses, that anything you asked for would be blessed.
The paid killers of the Medellín cartel would go to the sanctuary of Our Lady of Help to get their guns and bullets blessed, so they would be successful.
Every week for a year, I prayer walked through the city, and I asked God to send a pastor to reach this community. And after a year, I felt God call me to be that person. And God has blessed this church. We have 165 men, women, and children here every Sunday.
The majority of our students overseas are already actively involved in ministry. They've been in the field. They've been doing the thing to which God has called them.
Theological education is not cheap, no matter where you do it. Most of our students do not come from well-off families.
Scholarships are vitally important to our partners and to the students' lives in whom they touch.
That can make the difference between having a student here or not having a student.
When I came to seminary in Medellín, I had to come by faith. I was leaving my family and my livelihood. And so, when I received the scholarship from Overseas Council, it was the answer to my prayer that allowed me to come here.
It is worth it to spend your life walking alongside them and learning with them as they translate the theology of the classroom into the theology of the pastoral ministry. And they bring the reconciliation power of the gospel.
I believe now that it is very fitting that in a community that needed a church, and where they worship the Virgin Mary, that God would call a woman to reach the people of Sabaneta.
So when you gift, you are not only giving to a student to make his life easier. You are investing in the future of the church in Latin America and the world.